On his path to winning his second world championship, Max Verstappen enjoyed one of the most outstanding seasons in Formula One history. The Flying Dutchman of Red Bull won back-to-back world titles, making him just the 11th driver to do it. What do the stats say about his performance in 2022? He also urged drivers to leave soon if they were not prepared for the long fight. Watch this video for full details. First up, the victory by Verstappen at the 2022 Japanese Grand Prix. No drive by Max Verstappen throughout the 2022 Formula One season was more significant than the one at Suzuka, where the record breaker sealed his second championship. Verstappen has been nothing less than dominant this season, setting records for the most victories and points in a single season. It also seemed he sealed the second title in Japan a long time ago. The race got off to a dangerous start due to the wet track when Carlos Sainz lost control and brought out a caution. This led to a lengthy delay, and the race was eventually resumed behind the safety car. Verstappen then took the lead in a hastened race, during which it was uncertain whether he would accumulate enough points to win the championship. The mystery was only heightened by Charles Leclerc's penalty in the final corner. After a 15-win season, former champion Rosberg ranks Verstappen among the sport's all-time greats. After the Dutchman's most recent victory, former champion Nico Rosberg feels Max Verstappen already belongs among Formula One's all-time greatest drivers. With his victory at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the Red Bull driver declared himself the winner of the World Drivers' Championship for a second time in a row. With 15 race victories this year, Verstappen has surpassed Fernando Alonso to move up to 6th place all-time and set a new record for the most victories in a single season. Now that he's won the championship, former Mercedes driver Nico Rosberg believes he merits a prominent place in the discussion of the best athletes in the sport. He told Sky Sports podcast Any Driven Monday that he was a phenomenal driver. He added that if the numbers were looked at, he would already be among the finest of all time, so he believes it's easy to say that even now. He's won more races than Alonso and is a two-time world champion, making him one of the greatest drivers of all time. He believes he's just getting warmed up. He added that undoubtedly he'll confirm that within the next 10 years. It's awesome to see someone with his level of driving ability. Verstappen's accomplishments came this year in an impressive manner, despite the fact that Red Bull's salary cap violations plagued the latter half of his campaign. Charles Leclerc of Ferrari and the Dutchman engaged in an early title battle that ultimately fizzled out as the result of numerous strategy mistakes by his rivals. But even before that, the Dutchman appeared to have the upper hand. According to Rosberg, his car wasn't significantly faster than anyone else's from the start of the season. He added that the Ferrari was the fastest car at the start of the season, but he still managed to win an astonishing 15 races and completely dominated the competition. Also, here's what Max Verstappen has to say on preparation and endurance. Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton engaged in a brutal battle for the World Championship last year, finishing 14 of the 22 races with 1-2 finishes each. As the race's momentum swung back and forth, the drivers got rough, causing two significant crashes at Silverstone and Monza before Verstappen passed Hamilton on the final lap of the season in Abu Dhabi to win the championship. "You obviously can't have such drama every year," he remarked. "It's not good for me, and it's not good for anybody on the team, either squad," he said. Verstappen had a far easier time winning the championship this year since he held the P1 position from round 6 and never lost it. He won 15 of the 22 races this season. Verstappen will compete in 24 races in the upcoming season, and with Ferrari and Mercedes promising to compete harder, there may be a 3-team fight for the World Championship. Given his remarks from the previous year, he was questioned in Abu Dhabi if he was prepared for a back-and-forth title over the course of 24 races. He responded that if one isn't ready, he should stop. He added that they were all avid racers. "It was good to have a season like the previous year, but having a season like this year was also nice. But that doesn't really occur in Formula One. Therefore, everything should be fine." Charles Leclerc, the runner-up in the 2022 drivers' standings, was asked a similar question. The Ferrari driver declared he believed they were all set up for longer seasons. He's hoping that it's tight. For him, it was always enjoyable to fight to the bitter finish, but he's ready for more races and hopefully a longer battle. Next up, all eyes are on 2023 and the potential for a 3-team fight. Although no one is blaming Verstappen or Red Bull for the disappointing outcome of this year's title match after the suspenseful 2021 contest, it did not go as planned for the other teams. Ferrari and Mercedes must step up and join the battle, not the other way around. Ferrari made an effort, but fell short. The Scuderia played the game of what would go wrong, as their strategists tripped over themselves and their engine proved unreliable. They insist, however, that they've learned from their mistakes and that they'll return better the following year. Nevertheless, It's unclear if they'll do so with Mattia Binotto as their coach or not. As for Mercedes, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton were falling behind the Red Bulls and Ferraris because their onion-shaped W13 bounced more than it raced. They made progress, perhaps even enormous progress, toward the end of their season, and it appears that their late-season enhancements were successful. However, the bouncing returned in Abu Dhabi, and all that effort looked to be for naught. Expect Mercedes to be competitive next season if they can stop porpoising. Ferrari should be there as well if they can eliminate their errors. Max Verstappen's astounding statistics for the 2022 title-winning campaign. First up, Verstappen won 15 races. Verstappen broke the record for the most victories in a season by winning 15 races this year, beating the previous mark of 13 held by Sebastian Vettel and Michael Schumacher. Verstappen also won 9 of the last 11 races. Next, Verstappen also has a 68.2% win rate of the season's races. Verstappen finished first on the podium at 68.2% of the races this season with his 15 triumphs, which came in 22 Grand Prix. Only Sebastian Vettel's 68.4% win rate in 2013 is better, making this the 5th best win percentage in an F1 season and the 2nd best since 2005. Next, 17 podium finishes. Verstappen placed 3rd in Monaco and 2nd in Austria, in addition to his 15 victories, giving him a total of 17 podium finishes this year. Verstappen will rest easy knowing that he set that milestone in 2021, even though this did not match the record for the most podiums in a season, which is 18 victories. Sum total of 454 points for the season. Verstappen's season-long point total set a new record. The two-time world champion surpassed Lewis Hamilton's previous record, which was 413 points, set back in 2019 by scoring 454 points this season. Also, there's a 146-point gap between first place and second place. This was the distance in the Drivers' Championship between Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, who finished in second. Beyond Hamilton's 124-point triumph over Valtteri Bottas in 2020, this was the biggest margin of victory in the hybrid era and the second best in F1 history, trailing only Vettel's 155-point lead over Fernando Alonso in 2013. Next, 8 DHL awards. Verstappen won 8 DHL pole position honors this season, but he only qualified fastest 7 times and had a grid penalty at the Belgian Grand Prix. Verstappen came in second with his total, trailing only Leclerc with 9. Next is 13 front row starts. Verstappen started on the front row 13 times this season, which means he didn't always have the best position, but he always made sure he had a clear path to the first corner. And we also have 5 fastest lap occasions this season. Verstappen set the fastest lap 5 times this season, but he failed to do so in the final 7 races of the calendar year. Nevertheless, this was still sufficient to earn the DHL award for the season's most rapid laps. Next, 616 laps led the entire season. Verstappen led 616 laps this season, 305 more than Leclerc, who finished second in that category. This number comes in at number 7 all-time for most laps led in a season. Verstappen is 5th all-time in laps led, with 652 in 2021. Finally, 3,164 kilometers was covered for the entire season. Verstappen has led for 3,164 kilometers this season, thanks to those 616 laps. Verstappen appears to have traveled around his home nation twice and then some this season as the leader of an F1 race, with the circumference of the Netherlands being stated to be 1,478 kilometers. With the comments of Formula One world champion Max Verstappen that F1 drivers should quit if they're not prepared, we expect reactions from F1 drivers on the grid come the 2023 season. Drop your opinions in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.